politics, power, and a bit of drama right here in the Dáil. Like, subscribe, and see it all unfold.
Excuse me, Deputy.
Defend a situation where Fianna Fáil, Deputy, are getting 15 minutes to speak each, where Sinn Féin, that are larger than Fine Gael, the record should show, are getting 10 minutes. How that is not, you have said, Cancorla, that you intend to be fair and impartial, but your first decisions are not fair or impartial.
I'd ask you to resume your seat. Deputy. Deputy. Resume your seat.
That situation where they are supporting this charade, it is completely unfair, it is undemocratic, and Cancorla, I have to say, I'm really disappointed.
I am actually going to address the contributions. I would like to, excuse me, Deputy, please resume your seat. Deputy. Deputy, if you could please resume your seat. A little, excuse me, Deputy.
You went into the record earlier on when you started.
Deputy,
in relation to your decision. We need to know when your decision is being made. We need to know, because the Business Committee can't even function. It can't even function to set up what's meant to be happening here in 2 weeks' time without that decision. You also said in your letter you got 2 sets of advice. Which advice takes precedent? Was it the advice you got from the clerk, or was it advice from the parliamentary legal advisor? And finally, Count Corla, when it comes to the actual functioning of this Dáil, this is a huge, huge decision. We were looking at other parliaments across the Irish Sea 2 years ago and laughing at the way in which they conducted their business. Let's not make sure that this solemn parliament in Ireland is made a show of around the world, where we set a precedent where people who are part of the government are sitting in opposition. What a bloody farce.
Thank you, David. Now, if I could just ask for some decorum so that I might answer what was put to me by your colleague earlier. And it is, as was said, and I'll reiterate it, I can give the House and its members an absolute assurance that I will deal with the matter expeditiously. And as you are aware, and the Business Committee members will have relayed to every member of the House, there is a process in place. I invited submissions so that it could be open, transparent and impartial. And the closing date for those submissions is close of business today. Now, pending on the vote on the order of business, we may or may not resume on the 5th of February, but I intend to deal with it expeditiously. It doesn't mean that I won't be dealing with it on... Excuse me, Deputy. Deputy, I have said I have not yet.
Could you just put a date on it? It is relatively simple. It should not be a big ask, Count Corla. Can you put a date on it, please?
And the answer, and the very, sorry, excuse me, no, excuse me, members, there is no point of order. I just, in order, in a minute, Deputy, resume your seat. If Deputy Boyd Barrett is to speak, I would just ask, rather than actually shouting at me and jumping out of your seat, I'm prepared to hear you, but the reality of a date in this regard is I cannot, because I have not yet received all the submissions. Now, excuse me, Deputy Boyd Barrett.
The OPLA's advice and the legal advice you were given, and you committed to doing that. Can you tell us when the Opposition and the Business Committee will see the legal advice that led you to make your provisional decision?
As soon as I have received all the submissions and had a chance. There is a process to be undertaken. There is that process. Excuse me. That process won't even begin until the close of business this evening, when all submissions are received. Thank you, Deputy.
John Carla, I see here there's a massive conflict of interest, and I have done this in a submission from Independent Ireland in the conflict of interest. The Regional Independents nominated you as Count Corla, and I believe the conflict, if this was any court of this land, a judge would not be allowed to preside over a family case, would they? So in this case, I would ask that the Count Caller, not taking into the Count Caller's character, I'm not taking into the Count Caller's character, but in the interest of fairness and the protection of the Count Caller, they should have to step aside and let somebody else deal with this issue, not taking the character.
Everybody. Thank you, members. Everybody in the house. No, deputy. You've
Standing Order 35.3. I'm entitled to propose an amendment to this order of business.
Well,
so
on that basis, Deputy,
I'm proposing that we suspend the Dáil and convene an urgent meeting of the Business Committee to deal with the outrageous proposition that we don't return next week in this Dáil, with the outrageous proposition that 39 TDs in Sinn Féin will be allocated 10 minutes, the same as your government group in opposition. I mean, Michael Lowry is a member of the opposition.
Deputy.
Michael Lowry, who stood outside this building and said, we will support the government in the good days and the bad. Of all 7 of them, he's a member of the opposition. For God's sake, you're making a mockery of democracy here. And Taoiseach to come and Taoiseach right now. You know, you designed this situation today. You have it in your power to resolve this issue. They should have speaking rights from the government side. That's where they belong. So I'm proposing we suspend the Dáil now. That's my proposal.
This is one of the first order of business.
Deputy Carty, you're out of order. Please resume your seat. Please allow me. Deputy Carty. Deputy Carty. Deputy, resume your seat. Resume. I'm afraid. Deputy.
This is a test of you, Count Gordon. I'm so sorry you're failing.
Deputy, I have. Deputy, I'm going to give you one opportunity. I will have to suspend the House. I'm afraid resume your seat. If we're going to be left. Yeah. Thank you. We will suspend. Deputy, please resume your seat. Resume your seats. I am going to be left with no option, Deputy. I will be left with no option. We suspend the House. I suspend the House for 15 minutes.
Like, share, and subscribe to stay informed and help drive positive change.